Over the last 10 years, something incredible happened inside the Indian woman's closet. We're not just talking about a few new trends, we're talking about a full-blown revolution that completely reinvented a multi-billion-dollar industry. So how on earth did a transformation this massive happen so fast? Well, let's get into it.
First, to really get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number. $146.3 billion. That's what India's apparel market is projected to be worth by 2032. You see, this isn't just about the clothes we wear, it's a colossal economic engine, and it is driving growth all across the country.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How does an industry this huge change so much so quickly? Well, the answer isn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm of powerful forces that came together and completely reshaped not just what Indian women wear, but more importantly, why they wear it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to look at this through 5 key shifts. We'll start with that initial decade of disruption, then move to how we went from clicks to closets, cover the great wardrobe reset, explore the rise of fashion with a conscience, and wrap it up with a peek into the future.
All right, first up, the decade of disruption. To really get what happened over the last 10 years, you've got to understand this wasn't some slow, gradual change. Nope, this was a series of massive, overlapping shifts that basically created a brand new fashion landscape from the ground up.
And that disruption brings us straight to our first major transformation, from clicks to closets. This is all about the fundamental change in how we find, fall in love with, and ultimately, buy our clothes.
I mean, think about it. Go back to 2015. Where did you get your fashion inspiration? You were probably flipping through a magazine or wandering through a mall, right? Fast forward to today, and it's all right here, in the palm of your hand. The entire game has shifted from an offline world to a mobile-first universe.
And the data shows this wasn't just growth. It was an absolute explosion. Between 2019 and 2023, the online fashion market hit $11 billion, with a staggering 30% growth year over year, supercharged by the pandemic. And it's not slowing down. It's on track to hit $35 billion by 2025. That means we're looking at a blistering pace of over 22% growth every single year for the rest of the decade.
But platforms like Instagram did so much more than just sell clothes. They totally democratized fashion. Suddenly, trends weren't just coming from runways in Paris or Milan. Anyone with a phone could become a style icon. This directly fueled the rise of influencer-led brands and led to a boom of over 800 new companies selling directly to you, the consumer.
So, naturally, this massive digital shift leads us to our next big idea, the Great Wardrobe Reset. Because, let's be honest, when how you shop changes that dramatically, what you're buying is definitely going to change right along with it.
This quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures what many are calling the athleisure revolution. The pandemic basically made comfort a top priority, a non-negotiable really, and our closets completely reflect that now. This wasn't just a fleeting trend, it was a deep, fundamental shift in our lifestyle.
And right at the heart of this new wardrobe, you'll find fusion wear. It's become the perfect aesthetic for the modern Indian woman who's navigating a global career while staying deeply connected to her roots. You know the look. Kurtas with trousers, crop tops with saris. It's smart, it's practical, and it is absolutely everywhere. I mean, you can see this reinvention in the most iconic garment of all, the sari. It's gone from a totally traditional drape to easy-to-wear pre-stitched versions. And now, we're seeing these incredibly fluid, almost modular designs that are built for a fast-paced, modern life.
And that brings us to our next transformation, which honestly might be the most profound one of all. Fashion with a conscience. This is about a huge shift in our collective mindset, moving away from disposable fast fashion toward a much more thoughtful, values-driven way of buying clothes.
And trust me, this is not just talk. The numbers are absolutely staggering. The sustainable fashion market is set to skyrocket from over $272 million this year to almost $1.6 billion by 2033. This is a massive economic wave, and it's being driven entirely by consumer demand.
Now, this didn't just happen overnight. If you go back a few years, sustainability was kind of a niche interest, but it picked up speed so fast that it's now become a standard expectation. The key takeaway here is that people are now asking, wait, how was this made, and who made it?
And this new conscience wasn't just about the planet. It expanded to people too. The demand for inclusivity just exploded, and it really started to challenge those old, narrow beauty standards. The last decade saw the powerful rise of the plus-sized movement, with huge milestones like India's very first plus-size fashion show. The message was loud and clear. Fashion has to represent and cater to everybody.
So after all that change, where do we go from here? Let's take a look at the future fashion forecast and see what's coming next for this incredibly dynamic industry. And yeah, we've got the data to back it up.
Looking ahead, the projections are crystal clear. Sure, the overall apparel market is going to keep climbing steadily, but the real story, the place where all the energy is in those key growth engines: online sales, athleisure, and of course, the truly explosive growth in sustainable fashion. That's the future right there.
So, if we boil it all down, the last decade was defined by 5 great transformations. We went from offline retail to online-first commerce, from formal silhouettes to comfort-first design, from strictly traditional wear to versatile fusion fashion, from fast fashion to conscious consumption, and, so importantly, from exclusivity to inclusivity and diversity.
And here's the ultimate takeaway, the big idea. The modern Indian wardrobe is really a mirror. It's a reflection of a whole new set of values. It's a wardrobe that demands comfort for our daily lives, sustainability in how it's made, and a completely fresh, reworked sense of tradition.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As our clothes get smarter and our choices get more and more conscious, what do you think is going to be the one thing we value most in our wardrobe 10 years from now?